Morning class 10. So as you know, we are in the last chapter, chapter 10, and the previous topic I did with you was about the United Nations Conference on Population and Development. Before that, I told you about the Earth Summit, how these were unprecedented events that took place. And then I told you about the population conference where we were trying to talk about how the United Nations took an action to control population. Now today I will discuss two international cooperations with you, how again many countries have come together under one roof to discuss and to save the environment. So I will discuss two protocols with you today. The first one is the Montreal Protocol. Okay, so as we have done the case study on the depletion of the ozone layer, because of the CFC, the chlorofluorocarbons, the ozone layer got depleted, and this was first found over Antarctica, then the Arctic region, and then the ozone depletion was detected almost all over the world, where the ultraviolet rays were penetrating and reaching Earth. So I told you about CFC, chlorofluorocarbons, which were earlier used as coolants in the refrigerators, in the air coolers, in the foam manufacturing industries, perfumes, body sprays, everywhere CFC found its use. But later, after having used it as a very safe compound for almost 10 to 15 years, later when research was carried out, we found out that CFC was the culprit behind the depletion of the ozone layer. The chlorine, the chlorofluorocarbon, not the carbon but the chlorine, went and combined with the ozone molecules and destroyed the ozone. Destroyed in the sense that it converted the ozone back to oxygen, and oxygen cannot trap the ultraviolet rays. So when ozone O3 gets converted to O2, that was named as the destruction of the ozone layer. Now that was the time in the year 1989 in Canada, in a place called Montreal. A meeting, a convention was held. All the countries were invited to attend the meeting in the year 1989. Montreal, a place in Canada, that is why the protocol is called Montreal Protocol. And this was a conference, it was a meeting where countries took a unilateral decision to ban CFC. Not only chlorofluorocarbons but other compounds as well, which were responsible for destroying the ozone layer. Like I have told you, methyl bromide, carbon tetrachloride, chlorofluorocarbons, all these compounds were destroying the ozone layer. So a decision was taken at Montreal to ban the use of ODS. Okay, so when we say ODS stands for ozone depleting substances. So it's not only chlorofluorocarbon but all the compounds which actually destroy the ozone layer. So carbon tetrachloride, methyl bromide, CFC, all these are compounds that destroyed the ozone layer. So we put them under the word ODS, that is ozone depleting substances, right? So all ODS were to be banned. No country would use ODS, the purpose being to protect the ozone layer. Life on Earth is not possible if the ozone layer gets destructed, right? So this came into being in the year 1989, and in 2009 it got ratified by 196 governments. Ratified, it was accepted by 196 governments, means 196 countries accepted and signed, and they became signatories to the Montreal Protocol, meaning the 196 countries in their respective countries would try to put a complete ban on ozone depleting substances, right? And each country was given a time limit from 10 to 15 years. Within 10 to 15 years, all ODS were to be phased out. Slowly and gradually, all ODS were to be phased out from their respective countries. And when we say ODS, I gave you a few examples, but the government tried to put a ban on almost 100 substances. You have to remember the figures. Almost 100 substances were banned. We are trying to stop the use of almost 100 chemicals which were known to destroy the ozone layer to their potential, right? So two things that was decided is, one is underdeveloped or the developing countries. The developed countries would give them financial and technical assistance. So poorer countries would be given, would be helped, would be given aid by the developed nations, whether it is financial or technical know-how, how to control ozone depleting substances, that would be done by the developed countries. And a grace period of 10 to 15 years were given to all the 196 governments to slowly and gradually phase out ODS from the entire world. So now any product you buy, like a simple product like a body spray, if you are buying a body spray also today, you will see this symbol on the top, CFC, and then you see a cross on that CFC, which signifies that that particular product does not contain CFC, trying to show us, trying to signify that that particular country has banned chlorofluorocarbon and we are a country which is ozone friendly country, right? So if you buy any product, please read the products and you will see CFC and a cross which signifies that the product does not contain CFC. So this is about Montreal Protocol and how we tried to save the ozone layer. Now throughout the world you have to remember that CFCs have already been banned, right? And the next protocol, very important protocol that we need to study is the Kyoto Protocol, right? So Kyoto, again the name of a place in Japan. Kyoto is a place in Japan, hence the protocol is called Kyoto Protocol. Now we all know about global warming, greenhouse effect. Greenhouse effect which led to global warming, where we have seen a rise in temperature all over the globe from 1.5 to 4.5 degree centigrade raise in the temperature of the entire world, which has led to so many consequences: the melting of the glaciers, the melting of the polar ice caps, sea level rising, migratory birds losing their roots, okay, coastal areas getting submerged underwater, the fear that the cities which are on the coast may get inundated underwater. So much of fear is there because of global warming. Now again a decision was taken at a place called Kyoto in Japan, and the protocol came to be known as Kyoto Protocol, where again, like Montreal Protocol, all the countries were invited, because it is not one country who is to blame for a global warming, it is the problem of the entire globe. So all the countries were invited, and we tried, what we tried to do in Kyoto Protocol was, you cannot ban, but to try to decrease greenhouse gases in the environment. Now in Montreal Protocol we banned CFC, okay, we completely stopped it, but in Kyoto Protocol we told the countries to try to reduce the emission of greenhouse gases. Now when we say greenhouse gases, carbon dioxide, then methane is there, nitrous oxides are there. These are the major culprits which cause global warming. So all the countries of the world were told, if you are a signatory to Kyoto Protocol, you have to do something to reduce the emission of these gases in your country. Definitely we cannot go and do something in other countries, but we can do something in our own respective country to control the emission of greenhouse gases. So similarly, if all the countries take action, then global warming can definitely be controlled. So the signatories who were there, okay, all the signatories, again more than 190 countries were signatories to this particular proposal. All the countries signed the treaty, went back to the country, and what are the things that were done to control carbon dioxide, methane, nitrous oxide, water vapor, all this into the environment which traps the heat? Social forestry programs, that is to increase the forest cover. If you have increased forest cover, the forest will automatically absorb carbon dioxide. They are carbon sinks. So what the governments of countries tried to do is that they tried to increase the forest cover in the country. The only remedy, the only prime remedy to global warming is having a lot of forest cover in your country, which act as sink. They act as carbon sink, where the carbon disappears from the environment. So countries adopted social forestry. India adopted Van Mahotsav program, social forestry, joint forest management or forestation programs were adopted by the countries. And then to reduce the emission of poisonous gases into the environment, what was done by the industries is technological measures were adopted. So in the very first chapter I have told you technological measures, like you install electrostatic precipitators or wet scrubbers or fabric filters or venturi scrubbers. These machines, they trap the pollutant inside the industry and they prevent them from going out into the air. So if they do not go out into the air, automatically pollution and hence global warming is controlled. So this is what we tried to do and understand in the Kyoto Protocol. So definitely after Montreal and Kyoto Protocol, countries have been able to save the ozone layer, and also we have been able to control global warming to some extent. Okay, so the next topic, that is sustainable development, I will be discussing in the next class. Thank you, class.